Welcome to Etihad Focus, your number one spot for the latest match updates, transfer news, and inside training coverage. If you love football, you're in the right place. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any breaking updates. Let's get started. Manchester City ready €120 million offer for stunning Chelsea raid after shock Pep Guardiola criticism. Manchester City are plotting a hugely ambitious move for future Chelsea superstar Estevão Willian, a sensational report has claimed, and the link comes after Pep Guardiola's surprise criticism of Rayan Cherki. Estevão only moved to Stamford Bridge in July, but is already proving to be a key player for Enzo Maresca. He has registered 5 goals and 1 assist in 20 appearances so far, which includes strikes in Chelsea's last 3 Champions League matches. Estevão quickly established himself as a favourite among Chelsea fans by scoring a last-minute winner against reigning Premier League champions Liverpool in October. Chelsea supporters are hugely excited by the prospect of the Brazilian linking up with Cole Palmer, now that the latter is back to full fitness. Estevão is seen as a player with world-class potential, and Chelsea did exceptionally well to win the chase for him. But according to Spanish outlet Fichajes, Man City are hoping to steal him away from West London. The report claims Man City are prepared to make a €120 million offer, £105 million, $140 million, in a deal which would see Estevão become their record signing. Guardiola's side are allegedly open to doubling the 18-year-old's weekly wage to convince him on an early Chelsea exit. Guardiola is said to be leading the pursuit, having identified Estevão as an elite performer who can form a devastating partnership with the likes of Cherki, Erling Haaland, and Phil Foden. Speculation City are eyeing the teenager comes at an interesting time, as Guardiola has said Cherki will be in trouble if he continues showboating. Cherki managed an incredible Rabona assist to set up Foden for City's 3rd goal during the win over Sunderland yesterday, but Guardiola quickly played down praise. "I never saw Messi play a cross like he has done," Guardiola said. "Messi is the best player to play the game, but I never saw these kind of crosses. Crosses are fine, right or left, or which part of your feet, it doesn't matter. If it is effective, it is fine. But I like the simplicity, because I learned from Messi that I never make a mistake with the simple things. The simple things he does perfectly, then he dribbles past 4 or 5 players. I want players to do the simple things well, and after that you have special talent, and he can do whatever he wants. But if he doesn't work now, it will be a problem. He will be in trouble." While it is likely that City Chiefs have been dazzled by Estevão's start to life in England, it is very hard to see him moving to the Etihad anytime soon. Chelsea see Estevão as a crucial part of their project as they attempt to win Premier League and Champions League titles. The last thing Chelsea will want to do is improve a direct competitor such as City. Instead, it is more likely Antoine Semenyo will link up with Guardiola's men. Sources state that City have made contact for the Bournemouth winger and have overtaken Liverpool in the transfer race. Rayan Cherki may have to accept unwanted Manchester City repeat. Choose carefully. Manchester City star Rayan Cherki spoke to reporters after his eye-catching contribution to their Premier League win over Sunderland. 2 questions, pleaded Rayan Cherki as he came to speak to newspaper reporters in what was one of several interviews for him after Manchester City's win over Sunderland. Not 5, not 6, not 7. Before the questions began, Cherki apologised for his English as he readied himself to do another interview in a language that is not his first. As the second question began to be asked, he interjected again. "Choose your question carefully, because it's the last," it was also said with a smile and a laugh, although the 22-year-old did waste no time at all in swerving a few questions that he said were too complicated for him, and was then whisked off for another broadcaster. Just because he had produced the game's outstanding moment in the 3-0 win, it did not make him the best talker. That is both completely fine and entirely understandable. It is difficult to think of anyone in any profession who prefers talking about their job to actually doing it. Never mind footballers who have such rare talent that allows them to be idolised for their feat, but are all too aware that every time they open their mouth, it will go around the world and could reflect negatively on them. Unfortunately for the very best footballers, however, one comes with the other. The more impact you have on the pitch, the more likely you are to have to speak to media about it afterwards. not least because certain broadcasters pay for the rights to be able to speak to whoever they like. Any repeat performances from Cherki in line with his Sunderland performance, and however unwanted those post-match chats may be, they will surely be coming. Pep Guardiola praised Cherki for doing the simple things well, and there was no dressing up of the Rabona assist for Phil Foden that left jaws on the floor at the Etihad. All the games, all the weeks, I want to give a good pass to Phil, Erling, Jeremy, to all the players on the pitch. It's my job, I work all week for that, he said. The Rabona is my creativity. When I do this Rabona, I don't know where the ball is. I just think about putting the ball on the head of Erling or Foden. And today it's good. I do it in all the games because it's my quality. I take my time, the adaptation period is very hard, and I work all the weeks for that. I have the confidence of Pep, and I'm very happy for that. Guardiola also praised the character of Cherki, not just to be able to make the game safe at Sunderland, but for his cameo against Fulham when he came on as a substitute and was a calming presence on a City team that were threatening to throw away a 4-goal lead. That performance earned the Sunderland start, and he may have played his way into the team for Real Madrid on Wednesday. Another environment where the manager wants big personalities who are unafraid to play their normal game. If selected, that is not a challenge that Cherki will be shirking. It's very important for us, all the games, in Premier League and Champions League, he said. We go to Madrid to win and not concede a goal, and we are ready for that. We know Madrid are a very good team, but we go there to win, just for that. The history-making Manchester City player now breaking records 6,000 miles away. Former Manchester City defender Danilo played a part in some extraordinary success at the Etihad and has continued a remarkable career. Danilo played a small but significant part in Manchester City's glittering CV from recent years, and the same can be said of Manchester City for Danilo. Signed in 2017, the Brazilian fullback was part of a major overhaul that saw Pep Guardiola look to bounce back after a chastening first year in English football. The Blues spent hundreds of millions of pounds after all 4 of their fullbacks departed the club to revolutionise a squad that had looked tired and ill-equipped for Guardiola's demands. Given that he was primarily a right-back, Danilo spent most of his 2 years at the Etihad in the shade of Kyle Walker. It was the former Spurs man who had been bought for nearly twice the cost and who started the majority of the games, with his fitness, one of his many fine qualities, as he was able to start multiple games every week without needing replacing. Nevertheless, Danilo still started 40 games in all competitions across his 2 seasons at the club, and that included coming into the first team for one of their most iconic matches. With Walker's form having trailed off horribly in December 2018, Danilo took over and was part of the team that beat Liverpool 2-1 in January 2019 in a thrilling match that ultimately stopped Jurgen Klopp's team from being Premier League champions, Centurions and Invincibles. Danilo was sold to Juventus at the end of that season after following up the 100 points campaign with a domestic quadruple as City upgraded with João Cancelo, who would go on to briefly become one of the best players in the league and reinvent his position. When the tale of Guardiola's fullbacks are told, Danilo will only have a supporting role. However, his career had been mighty before City. He won La Liga, 2 Champions Leagues and the Club World Cup with Real Madrid, and remains like that to this day. After a league title and 2 Coppa Italias with Juventus, the defender fulfilled a childhood dream back in summer to sign for Flamengo. Last weekend, more than 6,000 miles from Manchester in Peru's capital Lima, the dream became a fairy tale. Danilo scored the only goal of the game before making a brilliant block minutes from time to help Flamengo beat Palmeiras and win the Copa Libertadores to make them Brazil's most successful team in the competition and book their place in the money-spinning 2029 Club World Cup. What made it even sweeter for Danilo was how the moment was full circle for him. He had scored the decisive goal for Santos in 2011 when he was a teenager playing alongside Neymar. His haul of 2 Champions Leagues and 2 Copa Libertadores is unique in world football. I never imagined I would play in a final like this. I always imagined going far, very far, but not this far, he said after Flamengo's victory. I took part in this story. I always prepared myself for these decisive moments in every club I've been at, but I have no words for this. I have no words. I could have gone to several clubs in January, it's no secret. I had several offers, but I never thought about the money. I only thought about the need to keep winning and to fulfill that childhood dream of winning with Flamengo. That was my priority. I dedicate this victory to my father, who is a huge Flamengo fan. Yesterday he was travelling with my family to Lima, but one of my aunts passed away, and my father had to return to Brazil, so he could not be here with my mother and my siblings. I wanted to dedicate this victory to him and to my whole family. That final was the 29th trophy that Danilo has won in his career, and on Wednesday evening along came number 30. Flamengo beat Ceará at home to clinch the Brazilian league title ahead of Palmeiras with a game to spare. Sunday's match away to Mirassol will serve as a celebration for what has been an incredible week. At 34, Danilo still has his eyes on more trophies in what has been a remarkable career. And having booked Flamengo's passage there, he may even cross paths with City again if the Blues can make the next Club World Cup. Passionate Pep Guardiola comes out fighting over Manchester City concerns. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola spoke about an interesting week for his team, where lots of goals have been scored. Pep Guardiola admitted concern over the goals. Manchester City are conceding, but does not want to lose what his team are. In a feisty press conference, the City boss attempted to switch the focus from their second-half collapses to the good position they are getting into in the first place. Having been brief in his press conference on Monday, Guardiola gave lengthy answers to many in a session that nearly